All right, welcome to our first virtual alumni weekend, alumni college seminar, Making Eggs Benedict. I'm Dave Sushinsky, Director of Alumni Relations, and with me is my good friend, Rich Edgar. What we're gonna do today is try to make Eggs Benedict. I've never done this before. We've asked Chef Will and Chef Morgan from Bon Appetit to kind of guide us step by step through the process. And what Rich and I are gonna do, we're gonna try it. So we hope that you at home are going to try as well. They move pretty quickly. So what I encourage you to do is, as Chef Will is introducing what they're going to do, prep your stations. Make sure that you have your ingredients measured out if you have time to do that. I encourage you to start melting your butter for the hollandaise sauce at this point. Just put it on a low heat and get that ready to go. Just keep an eye on it to make sure you don't burn it. And halfway through, we're gonna check in after we get started. So after the hollandaise portion of the presentation, we're gonna check back to show you our progress. What we encourage you to do is take a lot of photos. We want you to post these photos to hashtag SMCMAW20. And what we're going to do is we're gonna collect those on a social media feed, and we're gonna award one of our favorite photos a $50 gift card to the campus store. So take a lot of pictures, have a lot of fun. We're pre-recording this, so if you miss a few steps, we're going to get it up next week so you can follow along. I hope you enjoy it. So, Rich.
Dave, this is going to be, next time that you look at us, this is going to be a mess because I know that David, gosh, we have it all nice and prepped like we're supposed to. I hope you do better than us, but it'll be fun to be able to see you when we come back and look at all the photos. Make sure you post those photos. I'm not sure if we're going to post ours because at the end of this, I'm sure it's going to be a show.
We'll post ours just so you guys feel good if it didn't work out on your end.
Oh, no. Okay.
All right. So again, get your butter going now. What we're going to do is turn it over to Chef Will. Have fun. We'll see you in about 12 minutes.
Got my butter going.
Alumni, we'd like to first of all welcome you guys to our first cooking demo that I ever did. So hope you guys enjoy. This is something brought to us by your team to do an Eggs Benedict for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy. First thing I want to talk about is making sure that you have your mise en place ready. It's a French word in the culinary world. It's called mise en place, which means just pretty much getting all your stuff together, okay? Everything in its place. So you're not running around like a chicken without its head. So make sure you have all your components that was given to you earlier by Dave and his crew. So that way you guys can, work along with us, okay? You want to have your pots and all your pans ready, all your utensils. And from that point, we're going to get it going. So, okay, first of all, I would like to talk about what we're going to do today. Chef Morgan is going to make the hollandaise sauce. Now, hollandaise sauce, which some people don't know, is actually one of the top 5 sauces that are in the culinary field. And we call them the 5 mother sauces. Now, hollandaise is one of them. We also have another sauce called the bechamel sauce, which is basically a cream and butter. And what mother sauces is, mother sauce, you have one type of sauce and it actually branches off to make all these other wonderful sauces. Like the bechamel sauce can make your cheese sauce. It can make like the cream of mushroom, Alfredos and stuff like that. So that's one sauce. We also have the Espanol sauce, which is also known as the brown sauce. And the brown sauce is basically made with stock, with usually like beef bones, veal bones, chicken bones, and we brown it in the oven. And with that process, then we add it to our liquid and we, condense it down to a stock. And it's usually like a 12 hours, the longer the better. And that's a brown stock. Brown stock to make your beautiful gravies. It can be, make bourbon sauces and other sauces as well. So that's 2 sauces. The velouté, which is white sauce, and that's actually made with chicken, veal, different types of bones and fish and vegetables, and we just put it in a pot of water and we boil it down the same, but we don't brown that. That's going to be our white sauce. We make wine sauces with that and other types of sauces with that as well. Then there's also the tomato sauce. The tomato sauce is basically a basic tomato sauce, and that branches off to make your spaghettis, your Spanish, your Portuguese sauces, and things like that. And then we come to the hollandaise sauce. Now the hollandaise sauce, what makes it kind of unique from the rest is when you make that sauce, hollandaise sauce, we have thickening agents that go into our major sauces. Another word that can be used is the roux, R-O-U-X. Now the roux is our thickening agent. A thickening agent, it's equal amounts of fat to flour. Now, fat and flour, so that means you have a half cup of fat, which is, you want to use oil, or you want to use margarine, or my personal favorite, butter, because butter makes everything better. Just remember, that's my whole life. Butter makes everything better. So you go ahead and you cook your roux a little bit, and you add it to your stocks. You make your gravies, your sauces, and things like that. You could also use a slurry of flour and some little bit of water, and go ahead and mix it. You can use cornstarch and water. Especially when today is, time of people have allergies and food allergies and stuff like that. If you're celiac, you don't want to use flour, you can go ahead and put some cornstarch and water and use that as well. But with the hollandaise sauce, the reason I like hollandaise sauce is the hollandaise sauce can go ahead and it has its own thickening agent. So in its own ingredients. So as the egg yolks and the fat continue to whisk and cook, it actually thickens itself, which is pretty cool to me. Eggs Benedict goes all the way back to the 1860s. Charles Renhofer actually invented this whole recipe here. One of his favorite patrons wanted him to do something different. So he went ahead and he cooked something different for her that wasn't on the menu. And her last name was actually Benedict. So he actually named it after her. And she was very happy. And here we are almost 200 years later, creating this dish for you guys. So with no further ado, I like Chef Morgan. We're gonna go and turn these. Make sure you have your pots on. So actually when you I want you guys to turn your pots on right now and get everything like nice and hot. You have your boiling water for your poached eggs, and then you have the other water for your hollandaise. Okay, Chef Morgan right now is gonna go ahead and show you guys how to make the hollandaise sauce.
All right, everyone. So the very first step of our hollandaise, we want to get a double boiler started, which Chef Will turned our water on for us. We want it to come up to a boil, and then we'll turn it down to a simmer just to maintain the temperature. And the reason you have a double boiler instead of just putting it directly over open flame is the water kind of dissipates the heat and makes it more even, so you don't end up with scrambled eggs. Because this sauce is very temperature sensitive if it gets too hot or if it's not hot enough. So I'll go ahead and start separating the eggs while our water's heating up. There's a few ways you can separate eggs. I think clean hands, or in this case gloves, is the best. Some people use the shell, so I'll show you both ways. You want to crack into your hand, separate your fingers slightly, that way the white will go through. You can pass it back and forth a little bit if the white's hanging on, and then you have a nice separated egg yolk. It's okay if a little bit of white goes into your yolk, but you want to have that separate, and don't throw this away because you can make meringue with that. You can just make an egg white omelet or use it any way you would like to use an egg. So the other way a lot of people learn, if you want to use the shell, I find it a little trickier because you might end up with little bits of shell in your egg, but if you pass back and forth this way, same thing, you're left with mostly just yolk, and you save your white for another day. So I've already done that over here. So we have our egg yolk separated. To our water, we're going to go ahead, get a bowl that does not touch the water when it's sitting in the pot. If the water's in contact with the surface, it can scramble your egg. So you want the water to just be 1 inch or 2 below your bowl. I'm gonna come over to the stove. Gonna set that there, and keep in mind, especially if you have a gas flame, the sides of this bowl are gonna get really hot with the flame. So we have pot holders and everything like that. So we're gonna get that heated up. First thing you wanna do is put your 4 egg yolks into the bottom of the bowl. And you wanna add, I have everything separated here. We have our white pepper. We have a little bit of salt, just about a little Worcestershire sauce. And I prefer a little Tabasco in my hollandaise. It's not gonna make it spicy. The vinegar is gonna kind of counteract all this butter that we're gonna put in the hollandaise, so it's not overly rich. It kind of gives it a little balance. So I'll take my 4 egg yolks. I'm gonna go right into our hot pan here. And you wanna grab your whisk. I'm going to show you how to do the clarified butter, which all you have to do for clarified butter is just get it melted. So I'll show you our butter here. Right. I find the best way to separate the butter is put it in a clear, either cup, measuring cup, anything you can see through, and you can kind of see where the milk solids and the milk, the fat, the butter is going to be. So you take your ladle. May I have a cup, please? Thank you, sir. So if you can see here, there's a kind of a white layer on the bottom. That's the milk solids, and that's what's going to brown if you cook your butter too much. So you don't want to get it brown, just have it melted. And there's little bits that float on top as well. So you take a ladle and just kind of skim them off. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want a lot of that foam on top. You want to think of when you get lobster, shrimp, you want that pure buttery goodness. And it's important that you don't get the milk solids in your hollandaise, because that will affect the texture of it, the flavor of it. So once you have your butter separated, have another, please. For this recipe, we're only going to need a cup. So I just like to see where my measurement is. I'm going to pour out a cup's worth. A little bit more. And using a measuring cup like this, all the milk stays on the bottom, and you can pour it just enough to what you need. And this will hold in the fridge like indefinitely. Okay, so we're ready to make the hollandaise. We've got our eggs separated here. Gonna take a nice whisk. First, put your egg yolks in the bottom. Give those a quick whisk. You want to add your seasonings here. Got the white pepper. I've got the salt. And a little dash of Worcestershire and Tabasco. Just a little bit. Say half a teaspoon of each. And that's just gonna brighten the flavor up a little so it's not too one note. So we'll turn our water down a little now. You can see, get your eggs going a little here. You want to take that clarified butter. Just slowly start streaming it in little by little. What it's going to do is emulsify the egg yolks and the fat to make a kind of a light, a very rich sauce, but it will be a little lighter. Go little by little. You can see it already starting to thicken up some. I'm going to keep that going. I'm actually going to turn the heat off. If you feel like it's getting too hot, you can also remove the bowl from the heat. Continue to stream your butter in. That's looking good. A little bit more. Just want to keep it in constant motion so the egg doesn't sit on the bottom of the pot too much. That's going to help regulate the temperature as well. As you can see, it's starting to get nice and luxurious. That's what we want. And like I said, if it's getting a little too hot, you could take it off the heat. And I would say it's ready for a taste. Give it a taste. Everyone has their own salt, threshold. I think you will. So I encourage you to taste it. I'm happy with that. If you like a little less salt, a little more, feel free to adjust it however you like. But I'm happy with that. So at this point, this can stay right over the water, but you want to take it off every few minutes so it doesn't continue to cook. But you don't want it to get too cold or it's not going to be what you want. So there's our hollandaise. So now that's on the side. That does take the longest, so that's why we did it first. So once that's ready, we'll show you the English muffin and the Canadian bacon portion.
Okay, English muffins, you want to cut these in half?
So what do we say? We'll say, all right, well, oh,
Hey.
hey, we're back. We didn't know that. So anyway, yes, so the kitchen's
We made a mess.
still standing, which is positive. Made a little bit of a mess. I'm not too upset with the hollandaise consistency. so feeling pretty good about that.
That's not
Um,
bad.
And yeah, what did we learn so far, Ricky?
We learned that we have trouble opening eggs.
Yeah.
The eggs were a little difficult. It looks like we threw it at each other, but it was tough. Dave did the little thing with his hands and separated the yolks with his hands, and that got a little bit nuts too. But he did it. I was really excited that he did it. It was great. He got through the whole thing.
One little mishap. We looked at our Tabasco sauce, and it is a Chipotle Tabasco sauce. So we may have a little barbecue flavor essence to our Eggs Benedict.
Yeah.
But hey, we're supposed to experiment. Chef Will and Chef Morgan said have fun with it, try new things, the basics, and then break the rules. So that's what we're doing.
I wish we had the Old Bay. That McCormick's Old Bay sauce would have been great in this, wouldn't it, huh?
It would have been good. So take this time to catch up. If you have any comments or if you have any thoughts, use the chat feature. Let us know how things are going on your end. Don't burn the place down. We're trying to keep the River Center here so Adam Warblow doesn't kill us. But
we have more eggs to break too, so you never know when you come back and see us. So we'll have eggs.
Right. So, and I haven't eaten breakfast yet, so this has to work. Otherwise, it's going to be a really long day. So, with that, we're going to shoot back to Chef Will and Chef Morgan to take us through the second half. So, get your frying pan ready for your Canadian bacon. And Chef Will and Chef Morgan, take it away.
In half. Don't try to pull them apart. These English muffins are funny. If you try to pull them apart, you know, there's also a trick with a fork. You can go and it'll keep everything nice and porous. But I like to cut them myself. So you just get a knife. Don't be afraid of a knife. And cut them right in half as so. Because if you pull them apart, you're going to be very surprised. You're going to have half in one hand and one and a half in the other hand. Okay? You're going to assemble these as so. And what did I say makes everything better? Butter. You just want to dab a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. As so. Okay. And Chef Morgan's going to put it in the oven. You want to keep it in the oven for maybe about 5 minutes. Now, you don't want to make it too toasty because like a really good English Eggs Benedict, you want it to be a little crispier on the edges, but then you want it to be soft, almost like a pillow. So if you cook it too much, you know, it's not going to be that good. So Chef Morgan's going to put that. We're going to heat this little pan up here. So I have a saute pan. Some recipes you'll find, we're going to use Canadian bacon next. Canadian bacon, to me, is more of a ham than it is a bacon. Basically, it's just pork. And some recipes you'll find, they'll go ahead and they'll just throw it in the oven and bake it. But what I like to do is I like to sear my bacon. I like to sear it because when you sear it, it tastes so much better. You're bringing out the flavors from the ham itself. So that's one important thing I want to do right now. As we can see our pot, check your pot right now with the water in it. You want to make sure it's almost at that boiling point. So it's starting to boil a little bit. That's where we're going to put our poached eggs at the end. So if it's not, you know, you can put a little cover on it or put a little salt in the water and that'll bring the temperature up of the hot water so that'll boil even more. Did you put any vinegar in there yet? Okay. When you're using vinegar, you want to use the white distilled vinegar because if you use other vinegars, they're actually going to change the flavor. So if you use apple cider vinegar, red wine vinegar, it's going to change also the flavor and sometimes the color. So we like to use a white distilled vinegar in it. So my pan is a little hot here. All right. You hear that? Sizzle. You want to hear the sizzle. Making that sizzle. You want to hear that sizzle. You want to caramelize the natural sugars and the salt and all together here and make it lightly brown. This usually takes about maybe 2 minutes on each side to get a nice little color in it. Our water back there is boiling like we want to. Morgan's so smart. What she did, she put a little W on the bottom of the thing so we know the difference between the water and the vinegar. She's such a smart one to do. Amazing. I wouldn't have thought that. I thought W is for Will. I'm not the smartest two in the two shed, but that's okay. right. Go ahead and put the vinegar in the water. Now the vinegar in the water, what it's going to do is going to stop the eggs. It's going to help the eggs like stay together a little bit more. You know, if you don't like vinegar, there's actually other recipes that you can do, other techniques. You can look up all these videos now. Back in my day, we didn't have videos like this to teach you how to cook. You know, you had Julia's Child and stuff like that, cooking shows, but we didn't have like Food Network and the internet and all this stuff growing up when I was growing up. Okay, we had this little thing called with papers. I think they call them books. We had recipes we had to read like that. So now it's like so, you know, so much better so everybody can learn. Because I learned better hands-on. That's why I went to culinary school. It's because I learned better by watching people instead of just learning in books. Okay. Okay, that's the color I wanted right there. Yeah, almost closer. All right. Yeah. And then once you flip it over, because it only takes like 2 or 3 minutes to cook, we can go there and turn it off right there. All right. What I also like to do, because we're going to use the whole eggs now, I like to crack the egg into a container. So you can go ahead and get these done, because if you break the egg, then you don't want to use the egg into the poach. Some people like to crack it right in there, but sometimes what you do is it goes ahead and it breaks on you and you're making egg drop soup, and we don't want egg drop soup today.
So one of the tricks to the egg, like you said, the vinegar will help keep the egg together. But also if you take a whisk or a spoon and just create like a little whirlpool, let the water kind of keep in motion. And then you pour one of your eggs directly in the middle, and you'll see it kind of stay in the middle and stay together. I'll put one first just so they don't stick together. And we'll put our other one to the side. You want to have a slotted spoon to take it out so you don't get any excess water with your poached egg. Nobody wants to make the English muffin all soggy that we work so hard to get toasty brown. So usually a nice soft runny yolk is going to take about 3 to 4 minutes. And if you like fried eggs, fry an egg and put it on there. If you like your eggs poached but a little harder, it's up to you. You customize it the way you like. So our eggs are looking good. They're kind of just hanging out together in the middle, and that should be just a few minutes.
And it's always good to have a partner in when you're doing something like this, so it makes it like more easy. I mean, you can do it at home when you're doing for less people, but you can bring, like, if you have a child or anybody with you, so you want to get them involved, this is a perfect kind of thing to get them involved.
Yes, get your husband off the couch.
That's right, get them off the couch with those video games. And remember now, you got to have fun in the kitchen. So you can go ahead and play some music, you can go ahead and sing some songs. Me and Morgan, we sing songs every day. I don't sing as good as Morgan, but I'm sorry. It's not my fault. But we got to have fun. So go ahead and like liven it up a little bit, you know. You want a nice little pretty platter to show off. Remember now, we're culinary artists. That's what we went to culinary arts school. So you want to make your plates. You always want to do a nice little pretty presentation. You don't want to just slap the hollandaise sauce on top of it. It's not doing hamburger steak here. We're doing a nice, elegant meal. You're going to find these dishes in very fancy brunch restaurants. You're not going to find it in, you know, every place. It's pretty nice dish, so you want to treat it like a beautiful dish that was meant for.
Check on your eggs. You don't want to stir it up. You don't really want to mess with them. I'm just kind of going to be gentle. They're looking good.
Good, looking good. What you want on the egg is you want the egg whites, you want it to be cooked, but the egg yolk itself, you want it to be runny, kind of like an over easy. This is like a boiled over easy egg. That's what pretty much what you're making. Yep. Just want to thank Dave here for letting us do this for you guys. We really miss you guys. We wish that you guys could, you know, everybody stay safe and everybody, you know, hopefully you guys do this dish and let us know feedback. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed. Like I say, it was our first time, but we really enjoyed it. We really miss, you know, seeing the fun, happy faces here throughout the years. Like I said, 15 years I've been, you know, I know a lot of you by face. I don't really know names, but if I see you, on Face, I'm like, oh, I remember that person. I remember when you were a student here. I'm in here 15 years, people. That's crazy. I have a daughter, 20 years old, in her second year in college. She just graduated, got her degree, and now she's 20. And it's amazing how time flies. You guys, just please stay safe. That's gorgeous right there. Man. There we go. I would sure like to bring it for you. There you go. That beautiful thing right there. Beautiful. Right on top. The buddy system. Use the buddy system. That's beautiful right there.
You will have some of the egg whites come off in the water. That's fine. As long as you have most of it and some yolk. Everybody who just wants that runny yolk. That's like my favorite thing about Eggs Benedict.
Look at that gorgeous thing right there. Okay?
We're going to have to cut into that thing.
Yeah. Look at that. Hello.
Take our hollandaise, it's set here nicely. If it gets too thick on you, you can put a spoonful of water at a time to thin it back down. So I love hollandaise, so we're gonna load that one up.
Beautiful. See that technique?
And
Little swirl technique.
one of my favorite chefs, Wiley Dufresne, says nothing better than egg on egg.
That's right.
Think about it. It's true. So plenty of hollandaise. You can put as much as you like.
And like I said, you can put a little garnish. We're just going to use a little paprika and maybe a little parsley. My grandma actually used to watch this guy called Chef Emerald back in the day, and she said that I looked like him. So that's why, thank you. I think he's a great looking guy. So go ahead and do a bam, 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 bam. I can't steal his, trademark, but pow. Just put a little garnish, just for a little presentation. And bon appetit, voila, you have your Eggs Benedict. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this recipe. And if you want us to do something else, maybe we could do something else for you guys. So just reach out to Dave and we'll get better at this, I promise. Take care, and aloha, and take care, everybody.
All right.
All right. Wow, this worked a little better than I anticipated. My hollandaise isn't completely scrambled, but it's not completely runny either. As you can see, Rich just finished the last poached egg. You got there, Rich?
There it is. Look at that. Can we show this on a side camera?
Yeah.
After we get it done here, we'll get it up there. And
Joe, all right, it's a little thick,
it's thick.
but it's buttery and it's eggy, which is what we want.
It's buttery and eggy.
Maybe not buttery enough. I'll have to ask the chef where I went wrong. But hey.
Huh? Look at there.
Look at that. Show it off, Rich. Take
Oh,
it
look
over
at that. There it is. Wait,
Take it over there.
let's get a little bit of a, let's get a little look. Where are you?
Right there.
There it is. We got Hollandoozies. Look at there. And that's something hard to believe. Hard to believe we even made it through this.
So for two guys that can't make Pop-Tarts in the morning, I feel pretty pumped with how this worked out. So a number of people I want to thank. I've got a great staff here that's working with me on the marketing team. Chef Will and Chef Morgan, they've never done anything like that before, like they said in the video. But they're so excited. They want to do more of these. So if this is something that interests you, let us know in the chat feature. We can do pizzas. We can do a lot of things. We've got a lot of talented people here on campus.
Pizza.
So if you missed the action and want to see this again, or if you caught it and for some reason want to see it again, we are recording these. We're going to post them up on the website next week. Save your eggshells. We are starting our next tutorial, our Alumni College tutorial, Gardening 101 at 11:15. Check the schedule of events for the Zoom link for that. We're going to be meeting some of our current students, and the password for everything is, for all the Zoom meetings and webinars, is SMCMAW20. Send us your photos, tag them to the same hashtag, SMCMAW20. We're going to get cleaned up here and head
It's
to the
going
next
to take us a
one.
while. Yeah, it's going to take us a while.
Closing words?
Love you guys for watching. We had a ball. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the day. And I can't wait till we get to the drinks because we need one after this. This is something else.
Yeah, stay tuned. Plenty to come.